So welcome everyone to this session of inquiry. Good to have you here. See people coming on. Nice to see some familiar faces. So first Friday gathering, we do this really every month, and often we just dive right into who wants to do the work, and off we go. But we're going to do popular request. By popular request, start at the very beginning and write a worksheet, kind of in a meditative way. Just let ourselves notice what it is we're thinking and feeling, contemplating, that's causing stress or sadness or pain. And if you're here and you've never heard of the work before or never done it before, that's completely fine. You'll fit right in. We're just looking at our thinking. We're taking a step back and seeing what it is we think and believe. And we're investigating and using this inquiry-based stress reduction, the Work of Byron Katie, 4 questions, finding turnarounds, which seems to be so simple, but has been such a wonderful exploration for me for 20 years. Just looking how the mind works. So where we begin with the difficult thinking. And with the difficult feelings. So take a moment. What a funny place to begin. Not trying to get someplace better. Just take a moment and notice what's been disturbing. What's felt difficult. Heartbreaking. A dilemma of some kind. And it doesn't matter if it feels like on a scale of what's huge and really disturbing to you in your life to something that looks minor and small, where you might have the thought, oh, that was nothing. You can dive into anything. So just an exchange, an experience, a situation. So just see what it is that looks like a concern. I don't like it the way that's going. That looks like a problem. So simply noticing. But I love we get to start here, because isn't that what at least my mind for sure gets into and wants to start thinking about? How do we solve that? How do we understand it? How can this get resolved? What needs to happen here? So just see the situation. Oh, we have such memories. Might have happened last night. Might have happened last week. 30 years ago. Doesn't matter. It's something that looks difficult, like a conflict. And if you're scanning like a movie, and you can push the pause button on a movie, it's amazing, you know, that crisp incredibly perfect and refined image there. Just look at that situation. Just if you imagine going there just to take a visit into the moment where the most feeling was happening, something that had a lot of charge to it. You can hear what was just said. What was the look on somebody else's face? Maybe you're alone. Something's happened. I love the question. Where do I see? Where's my proof? Where did I see something that looked like a problem? Frightening, difficult. So that's a situation. And just take one. It might look like there's a whole lot to choose from. Just pick one. Which one wants to be looked at today? No right or wrong. Just what's the best one for me? Just whatever one seems to be coming up. Letting those feelings be there, following the feelings. The feelings, I like seeing I'm feeling my thinking, I'm feeling my thoughts. So what situations does anyone want to share that you notice? What's your situation? Larry, yeah.
It's one I've been working on can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
One thing, something I've been working on for a long time. I woke up this morning, my wife is sick. And it was this sense that this is how it's going to be forever. How long forever is. She's not going to get better. She's not going to get better. She's not going to get worse. This is how it's going to be. And then how little control I have over anything. Her health, my life, my anything. And I'm just like blowing in the wind and counting on the wind to blow me in a good direction. But my control of that wind is just nothing.
Yeah.
And it's depressing to think about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know who to blame, like judge your neighbor.
Right. Yeah.
Who do I blame?
Well, I love that you've been looking at this so closely, and maybe it's life itself, perhaps. I mean, that's an interesting thing to judge. I mean, it's very broad, it's very huge, and also just seeing the sickness here. I don't like this sickness. That's what I really, in the middle of this, even though there's other things that I am recognizing, I feel out of control with, maybe everything. This thing, my wife being sick, is really bringing it to the forefront. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's just like sickness. Just sickness. That could be the thing you're judging. That sickness.
Blaming just sickness.
Yeah. Sickness happens. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we'll see what happens when we write the judge or neighbor. Yeah. You can even be specific about the sickness, but just sickness. Yeah, thanks. Anyone else want to share your situation? Remember, just watch if your mind is saying, "No, that's a good situation," or "That's a silly situation. That situation doesn't really matter that much." Just notice the mind chattering away about, it's just like a little thought machine talking about everything. Anyone else? Yeah, Bonnie. Hang on, let's unmute you. Oh,
It's one of those, that you said, oh, not that, because it's the same old thing. It's like, I can't get, I just can't get life right. I got, my finances aren't straight, and I can't stop eating. And it just seems like and I don't always feel this way, but it's just like, I'm just not getting it right.
And I like that you saw on there, I don't always feel this way, but when I'm looking at finances and I'm looking at eating, I have this. So those for sure. And maybe there's more, once we get started, we can see what else is wrong. Okay. So as you look and see, you might want to pick one of just that, even if you've done the work on it before, even if you've been looking and kind of wondering about it, just let this be, here's a new moment, new situation. Something might appear that's different, that just even it might appear as you're sitting there finding what the thoughts are about this. I can't get life right. And you can see yourself, sitting in your house, eating with your bank account statement. And that just doesn't look right. Yeah. I think we can relate, I can relate. Yeah, it's good. It's really good. And that it's not a small thought.
Yeah.
That gets so very broad, very heavy. Yeah. So thank you. Who else wants to share a situation? Yeah, Letitia.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you. Yes.
I took a situation this morning. I was in a meeting on Zoom with a colleague, and I was in a meeting on Monday with this colleague. I did Worksheet. I thought I worked it through, but then this morning I felt the very same thing. So now I'm like, okay, another one, because I'm just have been running in circles, it seems.
Yes.
Because I'm having exactly the same thoughts. So maybe in this situation, who knows?
Yes. Well, this is good. Everybody's sort of mentioning this morning, like not just the first time, but repetitive. Here it comes. It's still here. Well, I like just letting our minds do that, like that's okay. It can't let go of it, the grip. It's like gripping tightly onto a rung of a ladder, and I'm not going to let go until I know it's okay.
Yeah.
Something in there.
And
just yeah.
of course, I think it's his fault.
It's his fault.
Yeah.
Good one.
He changed since Monday. Yeah, it was on Monday. It was well, the situation isn't maybe that important, but the thoughts were, he's bossy, he's overbearing, he doesn't listen to me, he discards me, and I worked it through, I thought. But then this I had that meeting, and at some point, exactly the same thing happened to me. So here I am again.
I see you were with him again in a meeting. Got it. Okay. There that person is again. Okay. Rotating in again. Yes. Yeah.
And this time it's something else. He's saying something else, but the pattern is exactly the same, and my reaction is exactly the same. So here I
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That's what's wonderful. Yeah. Really like these that you're onto something. It's it's powerful because it's something about this person, and I might get that situation kind of settled in my mind, but now I'm encountering them again, and I still have anger, irritation,
Yeah.
fear, whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like this 3-hour meeting, and it's exactly one thing he says, and there I am, and it's like, volcano erupting. It's like, okay,
It's
and
good.
there.
This is good. All right. I bet you'll like this slow writing of a judge your neighbor just to see if anything different comes out. So we'll do that. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Yes, Mary.
Okay. Mine is just interestingly a perfect combination of both of those, because it's my stomach ache that seems like that's how my body and intuition is responding. And I'm frustrated that I still feel like I don't know how to read what that stomach ache means for myself.
Mhm.
And the situation is mostly focused on my husband and what I consider like unhealthy or unhappy living, that I feel like I am stuck in this house and relationship watching it and don't know what to do differently, but feel I feel a little victimized by his illness. And it's like, oh gosh. So, and this has been since we've ever met, Grace. It's been a while.
It's okay.
So it's like
Yeah.
years, and I'm just, I'm frustrated and sad and mad with myself over it, and I'm happy to be listening to others doing the same.
Yeah. I catch that little sentence that you said, I don't know what to do. I think that's powerful. I feels like I need to do something. I don't know what to do. And I don't like that, just something's disturbing about it. But I like, as we stare at husband, it's okay that this is what comes. Yeah.
Thank you. I'll hone in on that.
Yeah. Yeah. No shame in all these repetitive things that seem to stay alive in the mind. All right. Dina. Hello, my dear.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So happy to see you.
Yay.
So yes, definitely a repetitive situation. A gathering of people, of very close friends, and Mark, who's there, someone that I have feelings for, doesn't look at me, doesn't see me, and he's talking to others. And I won't go into any more detail, but definitely, so the statement is, he doesn't acknowledge me.
Yeah. So good.
And it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You got it. Good situation.
So, I mean, I'm so disappointed after all the work that I did. Here it pops up again. I'm like,
oh, yes.
it hurts so bad. And I'm like, I thought it was going to diminish.
Yes. I think there's a little theme here today of just like something, this should be gone by now. This thought, I shouldn't have this thought anymore. Yeah. So very sweet. And I like you've got your headline. He should acknowledge me. He's not acknowledging me. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, everybody, thank you for sharing your situations, and everybody's got their own. So just ready to sit and let your mind, listen to your mind being totally unedited. It can sound ridiculous, childish, selfish. We judge the thoughts and the feelings that are happening here. But that's the spirit of it, just to see what's present. Sometimes they're very old, and so they sound like they're 5 because it started at that age. Who knows? So just let yourself be a listener. You're taking dictation from how you describe this problem very, very honestly. So just like Dina said, there's a headline. Here's the number 1, as if we're writing a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet. And if you don't know what that is and you're here, we're just going to have 6 prompts for you. And so take a pen and paper. And like as if you're writing a headline, but really it just comes, I'm upset. Like you're feeling I'm upset, whatever the feeling is, angry, frustrated, betrayed, all of these, sad, disappointed. So there's the feeling in this situation because, and listen to what your mind has to say. What comes after the because? I'm upset with this person. I'm upset with this situation because. I heard one time, what's the crime? The headline. Naming the problem. Okay. So that's your number 1. That's your headline. That's your way you describe the problem. Okay. Number 2, how do you want what you're looking at to change? How do you want that to change? And let it be a tantrum if it is, a demand. Even if it looks impossible, I want that person to change. How do I want them to change? unedited. No one has to ever know what you've written. You can keep it private. It's in the mind, so let's just get it on paper. Might sound petty, immature. This is my argument with what's happening, with what happened there. Like not holding back. And notice if the mind, it will be in there, at least mine sure does, talking about why this happened and criticizing yourself or trying to figure it out. Just focus on the change you want in that situation. Letting that emotion speak, feeling in the body of disturbance. Okay. So, number 3. So if you imagine that feeling fading a little bit from intensity and you're just stepping back, you're going to give advice to whatever it is that you're looking at, that person in that situation, what you're gripped by. What do you recommend that they do or think or say or feel if you were helping them so they could make the change that you want? Like how could they become motivated to make the changes that you desire? What's holding them back? What could make them somebody that would make that change, and so they'd be different, totally different? You wouldn't have to experience this again. And you could see if there's something you'd recommend so they just appreciate you more. We're using should or shouldn't. So, and like just starting with the prompt there, what is it? What is it? What advice would you give them? They should. They shouldn't. It should. It shouldn't. Bonnie, good question. What if it's not about another person? So are you just about you? Okay. Then remember, I heard you say like life too. There's life. So see both. And it's, if you have advice for yourself, we do so often, that's all right. I mean, you see if you have advice that you think you should or shouldn't do. But include life in there. What should life do or not do? Yeah, I really love noticing advice to the self. And we have to believe that change and that whatever it is we need to do or however it is we need to change is just really necessary for happiness. And that's okay if we think that. Like you would get something, you'd acquire something, you'd arrive somewhere. And I couldn't have that now. I have to wait. I have to do that. Something has to happen and then I'll be happy. Give advice to the other person. Yeah, Brenda, that's a good question. So Brenda asks, am I giving advice to the other person or to myself? So to the other. I always want to like look at what we're seeing in the other over there and give advice to them, whatever it is we're looking at. Just some people are actually looking at themselves. I often think of looking at ourselves. It's definitely, I mean, that's running in the head anyway, how our advice to ourselves and how we should change and what we need to do. And boy, the list can go on and on. But I really like seeing, why is the mind coming up with all this stuff that we need to do? It's often so that in relationship to something else in the world, things work out for us. If it was just me living if I was the only human that ever existed, I wouldn't have any advice for myself. And yes, it is not needing to be kind advice, Gail. Yes, no, it can be laser sharp advice. It can be angry advice. So maybe, I mean, does anybody feel like they would like to, who's looking at themselves, just to take a look for a moment? I mean, Bonnie, I don't know if you want to do that, but
Sure. Life actually worked for me, you know.
yeah,
Life
okay.
should be more fair. Life should love me and just give to me. I shouldn't have to, you know, all those,
Yeah,
life shouldn't care if I'm doing it right. It should just,
yeah,
you know, give
yeah.
to me the way it gives to other people. Life isn't fair. That, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, very good. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Cindy, that's a good way to get into it, to dig into it. So Cindy writes in the chat, when giving advice to me, do I look at the result if I take the advice? Yes, absolutely. Because your mind is already seeing that. It's like, I really should take this advice. And so Cindy, what would you have? What would you get if you took this advice? And notice that it's in relationship to something else in the world.
I would be freer. I would be more comfortable.
Okay.
I'd be more honest.
You'd be what?
Sorry, oh, here we go again. I'd be more honest.
You'd be more honest. Okay. If you took this advice. And okay. And any sense of why you don't take the advice? Like, because freedom and honesty, this just sound easy and good. So what's in the way?
That's a good question. What's in the way? I'm gonna think about that and write about that.
Okay. So just let that percolate in there, because something's in there. Like, what else is disturbing me? What's disturbing me? What do I encounter or bump into in life that looks like a problem? It's usually that, because if I was just, I don't know, I don't know if it works for you. If I was just living, the only human being that ever lived in this world, I would have no reference of any improvement I needed to give to myself necessarily. I don't know if that completely works, but I just notice all the advice I've ever given myself is so that I can get something else. And the reason I'm not taking the advice is because I think I'm going to lose something. I'm going to lose something here that I don't want to lose. It looks like a deprivation or a pain or something to change. Okay, so fourth question, what do you need from whatever it is you're looking at in this situation? What do you need from them? What do you need? So I love, okay, you come back to yourself. You've been in there looking at what needs to happen out there, what they should do, how you want it to change so that you feel better. What do you need them or it to actually give to you? What could they do or say or think or feel or behave like, so that I move from feeling that stress that I experienced when I think of the situation to a feeling of happiness? Like, what would it take? And it's okay if it's just in your imagination. You're like, they could never do that. What do I need from that over there? So my troubled feeling would just dissolve, and I'd feel calm and trust, excitement, joy. Like, what do I need given this crime, this offense occurred? How can they repay the debt? What do I need so I don't suffer here? Yeah, I love that Anne's sharing. I'm also working with life, God. It's beautiful, like my whole sense of life. God, if you use that word, I need God to take over, protect me, hold me, decide for me, guide me. Yeah. Really give yourself what you need. Yeah, Dina.
Well, this is a question I'm still on 3. I
Okay.
had a question about 3.
Okay.
When you said, what would happen if that I forgot exactly what you said about the other person. What would happen if I got? So do I also like for me, would I say what would happen if he did acknowledge me? Would that be my question?
Yeah,
Or
if-
no, or was that just in reference to that other participant?
yeah, I think it's just in reference to when you're really looking at, you want to look all the time at yourself, which many of us do. Like sometimes, I don't know, when I came into the work, I was like, I want to do it on myself. But we kind of miss that we're in relationship to life or another person or something else is happening. I mean, that's just the only reason I'm ever doing anything I'm doing that I don't like, or give advice to myself, is so I can, get ahead. And at least it looks like that to me. I should make more money. Well, why should I do that? Because I'll feel calmer and get what I trade out in the world. There's the world, and I have to be okay in it. I need to, have this much money because the world wants something from me. It's really good to see that.
I see. So I don't necessarily have to answer that question.
Yeah,
What would happen if he did see me and talk to me and compliment me?
Yeah.
That's not.
Yes. No. Your mind's probably already going in that direction anyway. It's like, because it sounds favorable, but yeah, you're just looking and seeing what he should do. That sounds very simple. Kind of makes it simple when you've got the other right over there. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And it even sounds like you've got what do I need from him that would just make me so happy? Oh, he'd get up and he could picture it in your mind. He'd walk over and say, oh my goodness, hello, and sit down. But you just have the whole scene in your mind. So I love letting that be all there, like if it really just lifted. I mean, what do I need so that this is just a non-issue anymore? What do I need? Sometimes don't even spend much time there on this one. We have advice and we see how we want them to change. And then what we need is almost the same thing. But this is a little bit different. Like, what do I really need? So it'd just be over. What could that person say or even think or feel? Yeah, Sandy.
So the bottom line is, what could that person do? They could get out of my life, even if it seems to be impossible. They could die. That would do it.
I mean, go for it. I love that I need them to die. Yeah. Just looking at the honesty that the mind comes up with. This just needs to be eliminated. That's it. That is it.
It's shocking. It's shocking to me that my mind actually goes that far.
Yes. I mean, it's so, I love that you saw that and even felt willing to say it, because we'll think, oh my God, what kind of person am I? But it's just the way the mind is, it'll, of course, I mean, yeah. And you kind of feel a little closer to how wars happen.
Yes, exactly. I went there. Like, I see how wars happen. Eliminate a whole population because that will make me happy.
Yeah. I'll be safe. I'll be whatever. There's something kind of, I don't know, a relief or something about just realizing the mind and its solutions that it comes up with, and that those are there, even if we know we, not do it, but just that's an option. So yeah, write it down. It's all right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. So just two more. So 5, number 5 is as you look at whatever you're looking at, as you stare at it, how would you describe it? The words that you pick can be quite interesting and profound. So as you're looking at this offense, how would you describe? What are the characteristics? You just make a list. Usually not whole sentences, but if something appears, that's fine. But, you know, in this situation, this person is. In this situation, this thing is. Or I am if you're doing it on yourself. And the very last one, what is it that you never want to experience again, that you experienced in this situation? Consider, you know, what do you never want them to do again? What do you not want to ever feel again? Uncensored. If you had your way, what do you not want to experience ever again about this situation? And you can look back at what you wrote in number 1. Just, I don't ever want to experience. I don't ever want to. I never had this ever come up again. Oh, fantastic. So I don't ever want. Hey, and for those of you who do the work, who've done the work before, many of you here, I love this noticing. I always like this myself, slowing it down and spending time to identify the thinking. Like being such a good listener to the one that's yelling or upset or angry, crying, disappointed. All right. And Anne, yeah, I love that you shared your worksheet on God and shared the worksheet on God in the chat. That can be An amazing exercise to do it on God, even if you think you don't believe in God or life or reality. Yeah, all of it. Yeah, the mystery. Okay. So who wants to do the work? And I kind of love one of these people who've done a repetitive one. Letitia, how about you? Yeah. All right.
Sure. I'd love to.
Okay. Good, good. All right.
You want me to read the whole worksheet first?
Read the whole worksheet.
The whole mess. Okay. So it's I'll say him. Okay.
Okay.
So he says it's so we're sitting in the meeting, I'm the chair. And then he said at some point he says, well, that's too detailed, what I said. And we are discussing a report. Then at some point he says, well, what you say is too detailed and we don't want to write it down. And I wrote, first I'm pissed. Well, I am pissed, but then I changed it to upset, but I'm both with him because he brushes me aside as unimportant. In this situation, what do you want them? How do you want them to change? I want him to treat me with respect. I want him to say what I said is important. I want him to say, you are right. He should tell me, he should tell me what you say is the most important thing. He shouldn't treat me as a nothing. In order for me to be happy, I need him to tell me I did my homework. That was my Monday hung up when he told me I hadn't done my homework. So I need him to tell me I did my homework. I need him to tell me he took my criticism to heart. I need him to compliment me with my sharp wits. I need him, and then who was it again that said, I want him to die? Then I got new inspiration. I wrote, I need him to get lost, and I need him to find another job. I said to myself, I wouldn't go so far as to have him die, but yeah, disappear.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah. Good.
He is putting me down. He is disrespectful. He is overbearing. He is bossy, and he is dysfunctional. And my number 6, I don't ever want to feel walked over, and I don't ever want to feel run over by a truck.
So good. All right. Well, let's start at the top. I think you said he brushes you aside as unimportant. He brushes you aside. Okay, everybody just see if that fits with what you've written on your worksheet in your situation. Yep. That thing, life brushes you aside as unimportant. That person, maybe yourself, and just if it fits, and just let the inquiry work you at the same time. And you're even welcome to share your own answers in the chat if you like, if you're working alongside Letitia. Okay. All right. So he brushes you aside. It's unimportant. Is that true? He's brushing you aside in that moment, in that situation. He's brushing you aside. Is that true?
Yes.
And you absolutely know that that's true. He's brushing you aside.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens when you think it? He's brushing me aside. Unimportant. I love other people are finding out life doesn't care about me or what I want. I'm not special. Same idea. He doesn't see the truth, says Myra. Okay, so Letitia, this coworker here, is brushing me aside. I'm unimportant. What happens when you believe it?
I get angry. I'm thinking he's doing it again. Damn it. So the image comes up of what he did on Monday. And I really feel like I want to crush him. There's two aspects to it. The one is it's like it feels like it's personal. He's doing it to me. He's trying to wipe me off the earth. He's trying to I feel like he's running over me, he's walking all over me, and shouldn't let this happen, etc., etc. But then there's this other aspect of this is about reputation or what the other people will think. Like, I'm the chair here, damn it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, well, what will they think about me when I'm just letting myself like walk over like that? Being walked over like that. And so there's these two aspects, and one feels like the reputation part feels like more superficial, but at the same time it actually it hurts as much. Like, yeah, so I feel like I'm being run over by a truck and everybody's watching. And it's not that I want them to do something. It just feels like I'm so exposed, like so stupid, like, yeah, vulnerable, exposed, like naked.
Yeah. So good to see. They see it too. They're looking at I'm being witnessed by others.
Yeah, exactly. Like if he would do that one-on-one, that's one thing. I mean, I wouldn't like that. But now he's doing that, in public. There's all these people who can see that I lose.
Yeah. So good. Yeah. Yeah. You feel that aggression.
Yeah. And then there is this fight in me. Like, on the one hand, I just want to I want to get very aggressive. I want to, I really, if I could, I would hit him over the head. But then there's this other aspect of we're trying to do something together, and we're all rational people, and we're trying to get somewhere together. So I have to be nice to him, and so there's a conflict going on in me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I'm requiring two things of myself at the same time. I'm requiring that I win. That's one aspect. But at the same time, I'm requiring of myself that I be nice to him. And
Mm.
also that it looks like to other people, like I'm nice to him and I win. And I just can't do it.
Yes. That's great. I mean, I just love all the mind is trying to come up with the plan that fits
Exactly.
my rules, which is all right.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, now just see when this thought ever first occurred to you, ever in your life.
Yeah. I think that's what I found after Monday, that this is very old, this feeling of not being important, this feeling of being brushed aside, like you're not important here.
Mm.
It's very old. It feels like and it's very old. And also when I think about very old, I think like I can't really, it's too old to really remember. But when I'm thinking it's very old, suddenly other aspects come up. It's like there's a safety issue there. Like if I'm not important, that means my life is on the line.
Mm.
If I'm brushed aside, that is dangerous. That it feels like it's got something to do with survival. Like I'm not going to survive if I'm not important.
Isn't this powerful to see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the fear aspect of it. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And somehow in this situation, which doesn't have in itself a safety aspect, it's like this is somehow in the back of my mind, it seems like that somehow reverberating and getting me like it induces this adrenaline rush, like it's like alarm bells going off in my head, like take note, danger, 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 do something. It feels very upsetting. That's the upsetting part about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is somewhere that is then the other people are not involved. It is something. So that's like the first impulse is this danger.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's hard to it's hard to get there, but there's something about that in the whole situation.
I love how you said it. It's something about this feels like it's around survival. Like my survival is threatened in this situation. My survival is threatened. I mean, those of you doing it on life or God, notice, can feel the same.
And then it's like, so that is actually, I think that's the first nanosecond of that whole interaction. The moment he says that, then it goes like, all the alarm bells going off, like, pay attention, pay attention.
Yeah.
and then all the strategies kick in and the other things, and yeah, but that's the first like gut reaction.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well described. Just seeing all that happen in there. An explosion, sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I just love how other people are finding how you react when you believe this thought, and similar. It feels, Anne says, it feels life-threatening not to know how to proceed or decide or protect myself. We just notice I need protection here. Says
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
need protection.
Yeah, it's like I need protection and nobody's giving it, because there's a threat all over the place. And then there's this other aspect of, so it comes down to me. So I'm the one having to save me. And how am I going to do that? I don't know. So here comes all this thinking and these strategizing, like, and feeling helpless.
Yeah.
And feeling like this is too much for me. I can't do that.
I have to solve this problem. I have to figure this out. I'm all alone in this process. I must get the answer.
Must figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah. Must figure it out. Nobody's going to help me. It's all on me.
Yeah.
I don't have the means. I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Don't know how to solve this problem.
This is so good, because it's how you treat yourself when you're believing it. How you see yourself. So I love Dina shares, if I'm not seen or acknowledged by him, I will wither away and die. Like there I am, also kind of abandoned, or, just not left on my own. And Myra, there's a feeling of it being too huge to ever get over. It's just too awful. It's too big. Real trauma. Wow, love you're doing that, Myra. This is too big to get over. And Sandy, my survival is threatened if that in-law doesn't like me. Oh, and what I do to survive. I'm very young. I feel very young. I sometimes love that. How old am I? How old am I? How old do I feel in this situation, in that moment?
I know, but that's from hearsay from my mother, that I'm the oldest, and when my sister was born, my mother fell into depression, and so she got postpartum depression, and she wrote stuff that when I read that, I'm thinking, yeah, this is probably the feeling that, or it's reverberating that feeling that I had when I was 2 years old. And I was thinking, well, I'm all alone here, and I don't know what to do. I can't handle. So that I think, but that is then, from the outside, looking at it from the outside. I just, if I look on the inside, I just have these feelings and this reaction, and I don't know where it's coming from. But it could be that I'm 2 years old. Could be.
It's just powerful to see that something feels like that so young.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of helpless. I don't know what to do, and I'm supposed to figure it out, and I'm alone by myself. And okay. All right. So, okay, pause there. So same situation, just coming back and taking a look right at that moment. He's saying that thing. Who would you be without the thought? He brushes me aside as unimportant. That's what's happening here. If you just weren't even able to think that's what's going on, he's brushing me aside as unimportant. So you're just there looking.
Yeah, so without the weight of this thought, like this thought makes his remark that it's too detailed and you can't take it up in the report. It shouldn't be taken up in the report.
Mhm.
Without that thought, that is just what he's saying. It doesn't have that much weight. So, and if it doesn't have that much weight, then it doesn't invoke this knee-jerk reaction of ultimately my life is on the line, which is total nonsense, of course, in that situation. I mean, I'm just sitting where I'm sitting right now. I'm looking at the screen that I'm looking at now. I'm having a cup of coffee instead of a cup of tea, and that's it.
Woman sitting on chair, hearing
Yes.
us speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really, I love that sensing. It's just sounds very neutral. I know it's another thought, but if I'm not afraid, there's just nothing to be afraid of. That's what it sounds like. I'm just, because here I am sitting on a chair, you say, and I'm looking at a computer, and there's live things happening, but it's not dangerous. This is not about my survival.
Yeah, I'm making it somehow about my survival. And I'm making it about my reputation. I'm making it about me. I'm making it about in fact, it's got nothing to do with me.
Ah.
Yeah. It's got nothing to do with me. Yeah, I'm making it like he's insulting me personally, which he isn't. And without the thought, he discards me as unimportant. Yeah, it's about the report. It's about, so I'm saying, this should be in the report, and he's saying, no, I don't think that's necessary. It's too detailed in the report. So we're talking about what should be in the report or what shouldn't be in the report. He isn't. It isn't about me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So without that thought, it wouldn't be so weighty. It would be more factual. It would be not about a person. It wouldn't be about me or him. It would just be about what should be in the report, what shouldn't be in the report. And also without that thought, it wouldn't feel like I wouldn't feel this naked feeling like I'm exposed to all these other people, because they're just also involved in the discussion. It even turned out that after some, back and forth, then 2, 3, 4 others said, yeah, it should be in the report. So
You had a little more information about what people were thinking.
Yeah, but I didn't know that in that moment. So it turned out that, maybe after all, he felt like I felt in the first moment. That could be.
Mhm.
But then it was just a discussion. It was a discussion with several people, and yeah, I mean, we have opinions. That's what we gather for.
Mhm.
If we don't have any opinions, there would be nothing to discuss. And we have 3 hours, and we need to talk them full, like we would say in Holland.
Yes. And go back and check, when you're very, very young, who you'd be without the thought there. Who would you be without the story? I'm being brushed aside as unimportant. That's what's happening here. I'm just not able to think that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I imagine a situation like I'm 2 years old, and there's the baby, and there's my mother saying, "No, I don't have time for you because I need to feed the baby," or whatever. And me going overboard. That's what I read.
Mm.
So, and without that thought, I would realize that I'm perfectly okay. I'm being fed. I'm being taken care of. Actually, I don't need any care. The universe is taking care of me. I mean, she says, "I don't have time for you," and she brushes me aside, and there's no danger. Just sitting there. My heart is beating. I've had food. There's a house, there's a mother, there's a baby. Nothing missing. Everything like it was before my sister was born. Same house, same mother, same food.
Mm.
Same father.
All the air I could ever need to breathe.
Yeah, same breathing, same
Blood is pumping.
body, blood is pumping, heart is beating.
Being lived.
Lived, yeah. Yeah, so that other than what I'm thinking, that this is an emergency situation, there is nothing out of order. Yeah, she's brushing me aside, but I don't need anything.
Mm. Isn't that amazing? And it doesn't mean I don't ask for anything ever. It's yeah.
I am asking for a lot because I used to get all the attention and suddenly I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I see that as here's something fundamentally wrong here because I don't get 100% of all the attention anymore.
There's been a change and I don't like it.
Yeah,
Yes.
and what's wrong with me that they don't pay attention to me anymore?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I love that. No emergency, and just noticing, aware, and looking back in your coworker's face just looking at them, hearing their words, sound of the voice. There's this human. No story. Who would I be without my story? Let's turn it around. So he brushes me aside as unimportant.
Yeah, no, it's something else without the thought. He's just giving his opinion. That's what we're there for. He's giving his opinion. I'm giving my opinion. Yeah, it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's just that's what we're together for. That's
Human being with an opinion. Human being having thoughts about the thing in the moment.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what we're getting paid for, having opinions.
Yeah. I don't like I really love that. If I don't know that it means something dangerous, no meaning, because I don't know what it means. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what this actually means.
Yeah.
Like, is it really true? This is for sure 100%. This is brush off and being seen as unimportant. Is that absolutely true?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he isn't brushing me off because we're just in a discussion. And yeah, we're exchanging opinions. And that's what we're there for.
And sometimes, it would really look pretty intense, or
Yeah.
you were doing the work on something where a person's, screaming or threatening or whatever. And you can still find in the moment, it's safe now because that was in the past. It's over. I mean, it's good to notice. So I'm just looking. And yeah, it looked like that person is really full of all their ideas and their thoughts. But I could tell that's what's happening. I don't know if it is actually completely personal to me. I am the person being brushed off and unimportant. I don't know. They're just have a storm of thinking going on.
Yeah.
It's just like in the war, where many of us are thinking about war. It's like they're believing their thoughts like crazy. And it isn't really personal. Like it gets very impersonal.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's turn the thought around. He brushes me aside as unimportant.
He doesn't brush me aside as unimportant.
And it's the simple opposite. That is not what's happening. How could that be true? What's an example?
He stays on the call. He stays in the discussion.
Love it.
He gives an answer. I mean, he's addressing my thing, what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's aware of you having put something forward. It's not
Exactly.
totally important. Yeah.
Yes, he's visibly aware of it because it gives an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't brush me aside as unimportant. He's telling me why. So he gives reasons why he's right and I'm wrong. Yeah, so he's not brushing me aside as unimportant.
Yeah. He's letting you know some of his thinking process, what he's
Yeah.
seeing. This is what it
Yeah.
looks like to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's giving me all the reasons why he thinks that he's right. And the list goes on.
Mm.
So that's a sign of importance, a long list of why he's right.
Yes. Yes. Have this reason and this reason and this reason. And yeah, it's good. He's sharing it, he's saying them. He's letting you know.
Yeah.
He's letting everybody know
Yeah.
how he sees it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks, it doesn't look like brushing aside.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So what about I'm brushing myself aside as unimportant?
Yeah. So I can see in this thinking about what will other people think. I'm supposed to be the chair here, and I'm not supposed to be brushed aside and be seen as unimportant. In that, I'm doing all the reasoning why I am brushed aside and seen as unimportant. And that's what I'm doing.
You're finding examples really quick of why you are. That's like your proof. I got it.
Yeah, so I can see, and also it's also in this feeling of the feeling of being walked over, or the feeling of being run over by a truck. Yeah, so I generate that feeling. Generate that feeling, and so that is giving me, that's me giving me that sensation of being unimportant and being brushed aside.
Yeah, he could say all those same things to a different person who would have a different reaction. So there's something happening here. Yeah, that I'm arriving at whatever it is my mind is arriving at. Exactly. Brushed aside, unimportant. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, so it's my interpretation of what's going on that makes me feel brushed aside and unimportant.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing to me with judging what's going on outside of me, apparently outside of me, and what that means for me. My interpretation. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And my feeling, consequently,
of
what that means for me. Yeah. And that's very true. If I contrast that to the when we were in number 4, if I would see it as a situation of I'm just sitting in this chair looking at that screen and having a coffee, I wouldn't feel like and somebody's talking to me, or more, several people are talking to me. Now this man is talking to me and to the others. I wouldn't feel like being run over by a truck. Yeah.
I'm bringing all my whatever, just like you said, my interpretations from the past into the situation, taking it personally.
Yeah.
Okay. So just seeing, I love that, without the thought. Right.
Yeah.
It's just as possible to be there without that story. Okay. And how about the turnaround? I'm brushing him aside as unimportant.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what, yeah, so it is in that moment when I see it as a matter of surviving, when I start to see it like that, it becomes a matter of life and death. And then I'm in a life and death struggle, and I become ruthless. It's like anything goes here because your survival's on the line.
Mm.
So I can see that. So when I was doing the rest of the worksheet, I saw that I didn't say like what is already in the report is also very important. So I'm yeah, it becomes a struggle for life or death.
Mm.
Totally ridiculous, of course. I'm gonna click on this.
So much can happen in a report. Yes.
Like, my goodness, what are you doing? You're talking about a report and you're
Yeah.
and that somehow becomes a matter of life and death. How's that possible? How did that come about?
Yes. Which is a great, just such a good insight for just the sense of what a mind can do, and that it's
Yeah.
drawing from the past, and that's okay. It's thinking that this has some, it's very serious and has to do with survival, and it's
Yeah.
not even actually what's happening. That this situation is not it.
Yeah.
It's other things in my own mind.
Yeah, because when I look back at what happened next, I have been somehow rallying the others, because the end result was that, well, almost everybody on that call was against him. So yes, yeah. So I created kind of a warlike situation with there's losers, and that's you or me, and it's not going to be me, so it must be you. Losers
Yeah.
and winners. And
Yes.
yeah.
I just very so sweet in a way to see that way the mind would go into losing and winning, your words, just losing and winning. And one of these things needs to happen, winning. And I mean, really, that's an amazing universal question. Am I okay even with loss? Because there is loss that constantly happens. I mean, loss and loss and loss, starting with loss of attention when I'm a little kid because another child is born, and that seems to be the way of it. Impermanence, everything's very impermanent.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that, losing. I just know it feels better. I mean, it looks like we are okay. You don't even have to make yourself feel better. It just looks like, look how you're okay, even though.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I'm realizing now, if that would be the case in that moment on the call, I would be a much more elegant winner. I would be saying like, well, I don't know exactly what I would be saying, but I would feel like it would be something like I would thank him for his input. I would say something like, well, what you wrote is, I don't know, also important, or which is, I wouldn't feel like I need to win at all cost, because if I lose, my life is on the line. So I would be much more generous
Yeah.
in acknowledging his, what he brought to the table, the discussion, appreciating the discussion for what it is, an exchange of opinions.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If so, you were talking before about the war. It feels a bit like the war, and actually, in the war, there are always losers. There are only losers, and it feels like that.
Yeah. It's like Byron Katie's quote, if I argue with reality or argue with what's happening, I lose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, and it also feels like the winner loses too. If you look at the situation in Israel, there are no winners. It's just
Yeah.
So that then if I wouldn't see it as this is a war going on, it would be much more elegant, and we could be like friends.
Yeah.
Like friends building something together.
This guy's like a teacher. It's important to me because I am caring a lot about how he's behaving. So this is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he is. I mean, he is very intelligent and very he's just very very good at his job. Yeah. So I wouldn't have a problem acknowledging that and saying that.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, oh, I shouldn't say that now because that is dangerous. If I say, yeah, you're really good, then I might lose. I might, who knows what happens suddenly.
Yeah. What if there's no competition here? It's not about winning and losing. Exactly. Yeah. What did you say for, and we'll hear from others, any takeaways or what you're all finding, but what did you say for your number 6?
I said, I don't ever want to be run over by a truck again.
All right. So I'm willing to have him, there he is, being himself. I'm willing to be run over by a truck. I'm willing.
Yeah, but I suddenly, now that we talk it through, I'm seeing that maybe the truck was me.
Yes, which is kind of sweet. And I'm even willing to have that happen. I don't have to control my own thinking. It's impossible. That could all come in, like we were talking about repetitive thoughts and repetitive situations. It's like, I'm willing to have this occur to me again. I'm willing for that to show up.
Yeah.
Because then I'll know it's a little.
I suddenly see that I become so, after all, I do become so aggressive that I am like a truck running over him.
Yes.
So it's,
Yeah.
in the name of, I need to survive.
Yeah. Yes. And I can, I don't know, you feel that compassion for yourself, even believing that survival was threatened, and of course what would happen if you think it is, like, that's okay. But yeah, I love that, it's named the truck, the truck situation. So, the truck thing is here. You know what it feels like being run over by a truck. I might be caught in my thinking. I might be, like, it's great. It's an alarm clock that is very clear. So, takeaways. What did you find? Anyone want to share? Larry.
That was really great work. First of all, Letitia, you made me alter my initial statement because I came around to it more close to what you were at. Life has ignored my wishes. and doesn't care about me.
Yeah.
And when you asked the question, is that true? I immediately said yes. And it's been a yes until we got to these turnarounds, and you've just raised so many more questions for me. It's hard for me to see. I mean, is it true that life has ignored my wishes? Well, to me, to say no, I'd have to say, well, I want Carol to be sick. I mean, that's what I'm thinking in my head.
Mm. Mm.
How
Ah,
can that possibly be?
yeah. I can see with that is like, oh, life has ignored my wishes, and that's okay. Like there's a turnaround in there, life has ignored my wishes. Ah, oh, life hasn't. You know, that's a good thing to look at too. But oh, life has ignored my personal wishes, and that's okay. How would I know? I mean, you've had personal wishes before that you know it's probably a good thing they didn't come true. I don't know. You know, I wish, you know, I wish Santa Claus brought me a bike when I was 10. And it's all right. I don't know, it might not be the best example, but in other words, a wish that I really had has faded out. There's so many wishes that happen, you know, like is that what life is based on? Wishing all the wishes, and that's okay that they're all there. But yeah. What
Well,
was
it's so hard for me to separate my wishes from Carol.
uh-huh.
You know, I can't imagine. Yeah, my life's great, okay? And in many
Uh-huh.
ways, Carol's life's great. And now it's not. In my, just more questions. I wish we were done with these questions. Does inquiry ever end? I'm tired of inquiry.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you're
Got
on.
another inquiry? Why am I tired of inquiry? So anyway.
Well, maybe there's something on there is like that there is just just an immense mystery about whatever's next. It's a total mystery. There's no way to know what will happen. And I like I don't know. I definitely, my mind will come through and say, I would like to know what's going to happen. I really want to know. And I don't. So maybe there's a way to be at peace with not knowing. In fact, maybe we're more at peace with not knowing than we realize, because when we're not thinking about it, we're okay. But yeah. I mean, I love the questioning. Yeah, one big giant question mark. Cindy says, you can say out loud if you want to talk, Cindy.
I hope, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed your work, Letitia. And it's, I have some people to work on in my life, but I first originally took this to myself in my overeating issues. And what I came to, and I wanted to cry, but I mean, I got teary-eyed, so I knew it was hitting home, is my own little girl, my own inner little girl who distracted myself with eating. And so I could notice myself in a way. and how it's the same old now that I'm an adult. And for me, it's going back to really loving my little child
Mm,
and her hurt.
so sweet. Yeah. Yeah. Like take care of like a little, like holding a little child in your arms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's so sweet about children too is they get really sad, totally feel it, heartbroken, huge tears, and then it's over. You know, like you hug them, you stay with them, and then it is over. And they go on to the next thing, like, you know, it's over.
If they're noticed, if they're loved
Yeah.
and seen.
Yes. Yes.
Was the third of 3 girls versus what a lot of people are talking about.
Mhm.
So in that position, I think my mom was probably pretty overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of kids, a lot of little kids. She had, 3 under 6 years apart, I mean, all together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's some forgiveness with that, with her.
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Letitia.
Yeah.
And thank you, Grace. This has been you're incredibly skillful at this. I'm writing down your questions so that I can do them with my partner.
Oh, good.
Nuance things that I take the judge your neighbor worksheet, go boom, 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 but you nuance it differently than what I'm doing. So thanks.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yeah. Yeah. You're very welcome. Okay. Myra, do you want to share out loud? Or also Sandy? And I can read what you wrote. Myra says, thank you for your work. I related a lot. Takeaways from my situation. He was and is doing the best he can. He did protect me. And it's not all perhaps so traumatic that I can't be okay again. Yeah. And Sandy. A takeaway is that my long belief that I'm only 2 and incapable of taking care of myself, and I'm not a capable adult, is that I'm resistant to being an adult. That's so great, Sandy. Wow. Resistant to the reality that I am okay and giving up that story. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. What's my reality? I am actually, I'm okay here. I made it. I made it to this moment.
Yeah. Surprising.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And Dina, thank you so much for this time. And thank you, Letitia. Okay. All right. Beautiful work, everyone. So, just feeling into whatever happens next. And sometimes I love those wonderings about what's a living turnaround. If I lived this turnaround, like that the truck is an alarm, the backup lights, the backup sound, being run over by a truck means, survival and reconnect. It would for me, but maybe there's even more. Coworkers are fantastic. I had a coworker, oh my goodness, years it seemed like. There it is again. And something really shifted when I actually asked her for a meeting, just the 2 of us, to be more honest and actually share. I was expecting myself to just arrive at my own peace without ever having to even do one single thing that would in any way engage or connect with her. And as soon as I actually connected with her, the whole thing collapsed. And you do it whenever you're ready. But there is something about living into the turnaround that you experience, all of you, like living that thing that you discover that brings it from the neck down. And it doesn't have to happen until you're ready. So you know when that's time. But you get to see and see and see more. And in the case of that coworker, it was several years. Some of the same things coming up over. And then there was a time when it was time to actually meet with her. And it was scary, red face, flushed, heart beating. Oh my God, both of us, and something shifting. So beautiful. And Kavan says, thank you. This was my first session. I got so much from the discussions. Kathleen, oh good. So glad to hear that. Wonderful. All right, my beautiful friends, thank you for being here on this longer session. That was really fun, and we'll see you maybe
This
next
is
month.
wonderful. It was very wonderful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Bye,
Thank you, Grace.
you're so welcome. Bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye all. Bye.
Love.